Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video, I'm ranking my top 15 indie brand eyeshadow palettes. I love indie brand eyeshadow palettes. I truly do. And I have discovered so many fun indie brands, UK indie brands, US indie brands, just really fun eyeshadow palettes to play with. I've discovered so many fun color stories and formulas and quality, packaging, the whole 9 yards. So I thought it would be really cool just to grab 15 of my favorite indie brand palettes, rank them for you, and then discuss why I've ranked them the way that I have. And, you know, this is very subject to change in my life anyway, because my tastes change a lot. I know that sounds kind of weird, but they do. So today, this is the ranking that I came up with. Tomorrow, this ranking might be completely different, but today, this is what you're getting. Now, I do want to say that even though there are palettes towards the latter part of this ranking, doesn't mean that I don't like the palettes. It just means that out of the 15 that I chose, they're just maybe not as, I don't know how to say this. They're exciting palettes, they're beautiful palettes, but I just tried to really think about what are my favorites on down the line, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the palette. I know sometimes people that rank palettes, they'll pull up, you know, their last ranked palette and they're like, I hate this palette. That's not true. I don't hate any of these palettes. I love them all, but just for my tastes and my preferences, that's really what I rank these on. So let's start off with palette number 15. This is the Arttitude Cosmetics Color Splash palette, and this is a UK indie brand. And my soul sister, my bestie Steph, is a brand ambassador for this brand. And this palette was sent to me from Marina, Make by Marina. And any creators that I mentioned in this video, I definitely will have their channels linked in my description box. So if you're not familiar with them, please go check out their channels. And if you dig them, subscribe to them. But this is a beautiful rainbow palette, really fun shimmers and mattes in here, beautiful formula. I was so happy that Marina sent this to me. Now this brand makes Cake It liners. I have never tried any of those liners, but Steph swears by those liners. She just loves this brand. Like I said, she is a brand ambassador for it. So she's got a lot of experience with this brand, knows the brand owner really well, and just has nothing but good things to say about this brand. And I have used this before on my channel. I have not used it since I used it on my channel. And that's kind of why this is ranked 15th, just because I don't have a ton of experience with it. But I really like the fact that, yes, there's a lot of different shades in here, but it's not as enormous as like the Be Perfect, Stacey Marie, Love Tahiti, Carnival 3 palette. I would say this is less overwhelming than the Be Perfect palette. And I'm really happy with how everything in here that I've used so far performed. And I really want to use this again. I need to use this again. I need to put it on my desk and get it out again. Number 14 is the Makeup by Lisa Raven's Castle palette, and I do have this on my eyelids today. And this is also a UK indie brand that I just fell madly in love with after Steph introduced me to this brand. The brand owner, Lisa, is just amazing. She has such great customer service. And I mentioned this in another video. I do have another palette from this brand. And I was having some issues getting onto the website and accessing the ability to ship it to the United States. And I reached out to Lisa, and within, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, she had it fixed, and she let me know it was fixed so I could go on and order the palette. It was amazing. And she also threw in a single for free, which I thought was really cool. But I think this is such a beautiful, cool toned color story. I use this shade right here in my transition area and also on my lower lash line. I deepen up the outer V with this shade here, and then I put this shade all over the lid, and I put this shade right here in my inner corner. And these two shades right here, they're more like topper shimmers, but they're so sparkly and just very dynamic, catch the light just beautifully. The shimmers in here are really nice, and I love cool tone palettes, so this is really awesome to have in my collection. And the reason why this is ranked 14th is just because I've only used it twice now, so I don't have a ton of experience with it. And I just felt like some of my other color stories that I have in my collection, I just gravitate more towards maybe. But I'm telling you, this is such a wonderful brand. If you guys have never checked out this brand, I will have their website linked in my description box. I'll have all these brands' websites linked in my description box. But really, go check out her brand because she has such amazing products, and this is such a wonderful palette to play with. Number 13 is the Jewel Tone palette from Sample Beauty. This is another UK indie brand that I just love, and I'm pretty sure Steph turned me on to this brand too. Steph has turned me on to some amazing UK indie brands. The thing that I love the most about this palette are these two shimmer shades right here. This is called Moonstone, and this is called Diaspore. It's got that smushy, buttery, liquid metal look to it on the lids. Just so fun and so dynamic and beautiful. And I just really enjoy playing with this palette. This is another one I haven't used in a while. I need to also put on my desk and play with it again soon. I have used this before on my channel. I did a collab with Steph. We used different sample beauty palettes in our collab, but really a fun brand. And I have a couple other of their palettes too. A couple of them I still need to use that Steph sent to me. But yeah, I really do recommend, if you guys are not familiar with this brand, go check out their website. Number 12 is the Tiny Marvels palette from Sydney Grace. And you know, I had been checking this brand out for so long, and I just kind of felt like their products were a little bit out of my price range. But my wonderful friend and subscriber, Tiramisu, reminded me last year of their July sales that they have every year. And so I did go onto their website. I picked this up, a couple of their liquid duochrome shadows up, and so impressed with this brand. And then my dear friend, Michelle, she sent me the In Mel's Memory bundle, the singles bundle. And I've used that before on my channel. I've used this before too. So to have the amazing experiences that I've now had with this brand has just been wonderful. And I do have some more liquid shadows that Jen Beauty sent to me. And also my dear friend and subscriber, Mary, she sent me a couple of their liquid shadows, kind of a charcoal gray color. And pretty soon I am going to be doing a video where I'm using all cream products. So I'm going to be pulling those shadows into that video. But I really enjoy having this for a lot of different reasons. Number one, this was done with Mel Thompson, and Mel Thompson was a creator here on this platform that I'm sure you guys are familiar with, who passed away. And I loved her. I will always love her. She was one of my favorite creators. I still go and watch her videos when I need to pick me up. Just a beautiful woman inside and out. And I really, truly, deeply miss her. So having this in my collection is very special to me for that reason. And also the quality and the formula, the color story, the packaging, everything. This is such a wonderful quality palette. And this is another brand, of course, that I have to recommend that you guys go and check out if you haven't yet already. Number 11 is the Glamlight Michaela palette. And I love the packaging. I don't know how well you guys can see this with my mirror, but see how it's got the glitter in the front of it, or like these little sequin things? Isn't that fun? It's like a little disco ball in a palette. And I just really enjoy this color story because there's so many different options in here, different colors, different textures, just a really cool palette to sit down and create a look with. So fun. Now I do have two other Glamlight palettes now, and this is quickly becoming one of my favorite brands. Their palettes for me are a little bit more expensive, but I would say that you're getting what you pay for with these palettes, and they do have a lot of sales I'm discovering, which is really cool. But yeah, really, really happy with this brand. I'm just loving it. Number 10 is the XNO Cosmetics Beautiful Tragedy MUE Valkyrie palette. I love the front. She is my spirit animal. I just wish I was her all the time. I mean, I feel like I am her inside, but outwardly, I don't know that I pull that off very well. This is such a beautiful, cool toned eyeshadow palette, and I love cool tones. And also, even though it's only a 9-pan palette, there's a lot of, I think, different things, different combinations of shades you can put together to create very different looks with this palette. I've used this before on my channel. I did a collab with Ash using this palette. And the shade that I love the most in this palette is this one right here. It's called Bifrost. How fun. Beautiful, vibrant blue shimmer shade. And blues used to terrify me, but now, yay, I've finally gotten over that. And I really like the black matte in this palette too, this one right here. It's a beautiful, richly pigmented black matte, but it's not patchy and it blends really well. I just think it's such a fun palette. This is a US indie brand that I highly recommend checking out. Number 9 is the Giant Wolves palette from Ownsai that they did in collaboration with Annette's Makeup Corner. Really fun packaging, and I love the fact that it opens like a book. I don't think I have any other palettes in my collection that open like this, and we've got a mirror here. I don't want to blind you guys, but this is such a beautiful, unique, different color story. And this is the first palette that I used on my channel in 2022. I created 2 different looks, a neutral leaning look and then a more colorful look. And that is what is so fun about this palette. I mean, there's a lot of fun things about this palette, but you can go in either direction, neutral or colorful. And I love that. So you have a lot of different options in here. And the shimmer shades in here, oh, they are just impeccable. Very flippy, very dynamic, very mysterious, just wonderful. And I've been wanting to try this brand for a really long time, and I was so happy that I finally picked up something from this brand. I also have the Hella palette too that Christine sent to me. Number 8 is the Book of Magic palette from Beauty Bay. And this is a limited edition palette, so this is no longer available. And I was really kicking myself that I didn't pick this up right when it was released. I think the thing was I just didn't realize it was a limited edition palette. So then it was just gone, and I was like, oh, I was whining to everybody about it. So my dear friend Danielle, she sent this to me. And the thing that I love the most about this palette is the richness of it, the rich deep, saturated color story here. We have these beautiful purples and blues and teals. And yes, we do have some neutral options. And I know that some people, when they look at this palette, they think, why are there neutrals in there? But I do really like that. I do. I like to have a neutral base sometimes, or just a neutral look, but you can have like a really fun pop of color, either on the lid or maybe in the inner corner, whatever. And I love Beauty Bay eyeshadow palettes. Love them. And I'm so happy that even though this palette is a limited edition palette, that my dear friend caved into the spoiled brat that I am and sent it to me. Number 7 is the Rock and Roll Beauty Ozzy Osbourne Bat Palette. Now, this is a US indie brand that I am just thrilled to have discovered, if I can get the palette open. I struggle with that a lot on my channel. I have the Def Leppard palette too. And the reason why this got pulled into this video is because, first of all, I love Ozzy Osbourne and the packaging is so unique and different and fun and awesome and rocker, but so is the color story. This is such a unique color story in my collection. The reds and burgundies and the blues, this light blue here, black matte. I mean, I know I have palettes with other black mattes in it, but it's always fun to have a black matte in a palette. I love that. That was kind of a selling point for me on this palette. But the color story in general is just really awesome, I think. And it does say Ozzy Osbourne. I would have to say it does. And I've used this a few times and I just enjoy it every time I get this palette out and play with it. The shimmers are so beautiful. They're kind of more satiny, I would say, but they apply beautifully and they look so stunning. And the mattes are just incredible. They're pigmented, they blend well. I mean, just such a fun brand. And I mean, look, I have a bat palette now that says Ozzy on the front of it. Number 6 is the Gourmand Girls Ethereal palette. And this is an all shimmer palette, duochromes, multi-chromes, just stunning. I mean, look at this, beautiful. And the thing that's so cool about these shadows is that depending on what light you're in, the color can look completely different. Like for instance, this one right here, it's got like a blue base to it, but it's also got this really pretty light fairy wing pink in there too. And sometimes depending on what light you're in, you can't even see the blue. You can just see the pink. And then other times you can just see the blue and you can't see the pink. So it's so cool. And that's the thing I love about indie brands, is that I really feel like they take the time to create very special shadows. A lot of the bigger brands, I just don't think they take the time to really do that, you know? And that's what's made me such a big fan of indie brands, are just the amazing, incredible, special shadows that they can create. And this palette is chock full of special shadows. And I've used this a couple times on my channel. I really cannot wait to use this palette again. I really could use this every single day of my life and be perfectly happy. But if you guys haven't checked out Gourmand Girls yet, again, another indie brand that I highly recommend. Number 5 is the Berlin Underground from Nomad Cosmetics. And you guys might have thought this would be in the number 1 spot, but I do have a number 1 palette that I'm going to show you when I get there that's now taken over my entire collection. But this will always be in my top 5 of all of my palettes, of all of my collection, because it's such a wonderful, earthy, grungy, vampy color story. This palette is me. Like, it has my heart and soul in this color story. And the thing that I love about it too is that the majority of these shades are more satiny consistency. And that's something that I may not have liked, you know, before I got this palette. That's not something that I would normally go for, as a more satiny type palette or shades in a palette. But everything in here works so well. It blends so beautifully. And Nomad Cosmetics creates such high quality, amazing formula palettes. I mean, one of my favorite indie brands of all time, and it will always be one of my favorite brands of all time, indie brands of all time. So fun to have this palette. I just love it. And this is no longer available, which just breaks my heart. But I have to say, I know I sound like a spoiled rotten brat here, so happy that I was able to have this in my collection. Number 4 is the Martine Cosmetics 669 palette. Look how fun this packaging is. I love the Martine Cosmetics symbol, the velveteen, the little metal details here, and this clasp. So cool. And the color story is just fantastic. Earthy, grungy, vampy, sexy. I mean, so many different things you can do, different color combinations you can put together with this palette. I have not used this palette near enough. That's another goal of mine, is to get this palette out and use it a lot more. I mean, this is another palette I could use every single day of my life and be perfectly happy. This shade right here called Freya is my favorite shimmer shade in this palette. I know I've said that before, but it's so unique. It's that green to pink flip. Again, one of those shades that, depending on what light you're in, can look completely pink or completely green. It's so fun. And I really love the mattes in here. I love the depth of it, like the deepness of it. We've got a lot of darker shades, which I think is really fun. Obviously, this is the complete opposite of a rainbow palette, but that's what I love, is to have, you know, a variety of different types of palettes in my collection. And this is just such a stunning palette, such a wonderful quality palette. Number 3 is the Club Nebula from Kaleidos Cosmetics, and this is no longer available either. I really hope that someday maybe they will re-release this. I have not heard any rumors of that, but man, wouldn't that be awesome? Because I know tons of people that were not able to get this palette that really want it. And this is one of my, will always be one of my top 3 favorite palettes in my collection. It was number 1 for a long time. The packaging is super cool. And then of course the color story and the formula is just amazing. And I love Angelica Nikovis. They did this in collaboration with her. She's one of my favorite creators. So to have this in my collection is very special for a lot of different reasons. And the thing that I love the most about this palette are the shimmers. Very different, very unique, flippy, mysterious, look totally different depending on the light. Love those kind of shimmers. And the mattes also are beautiful, very pigmented. Can you guys see that okay? Not really, there we go. The mattes are very pigmented and they just blend out like a dream. The thing too that I love about it is this shade right here. It's called Nova. It looks like a white, kind of light pink shimmer in the pan, but when you put it on your eyelids, it's like this baby blue, kind of fairy wing blue color. I mean, how cool is that? That's what I mean. Indie brands really do take the time to create really different, unique, special shades, and this one is full of them. And yeah, really happy that I was able to pick this up. And like I said, I just keep thinking, they're gonna re-release this, right? They're gonna re-release this, right? Number 2 is the Nomad Cosmetics Amor y Mariposas palette. And I love the packaging. We have an anatomical heart here, which I didn't figure that out for quite a while. Actually, I saw Ash, Makeup and Chaos, show this palette on their channel. And they said, I love the fact that there's an anatomical heart on the front. I'm like, that's what that is? Duh, totally idiot. And then I love the butterflies too. Butterflies are very special to me. And the color story is just phenomenal. Greens, neutrals, these kind of corally, peach, terracottas, and then we have these like wine purpley shades down here. So a lot of different options. Andy from Andy Does Stuff, she sent this to me and just blew me away that she sent it because I'd seen this on Ash's channel and I was like, okay, I gotta get over my weirdness and just, buy a more expensive palette, get out of my weird comfort zone and just go for it, because I really do believe with a lot of more expensive palettes, you really are getting what you pay for. This is another example of that. But anyway, I was just so thrilled that Andy sent this to me. Very special palette in my collection. And I have used this before on my channel. And I think that Kim and I, from Kim's Happy Place, I think we're going to be doing a collab with this palette soon. I hope. We've talked about it a little bit, but haven't planned anything out yet. But I'm really impressed with the formula of this brand. I do have the She's and Parties palette. I used that not very long ago with Andy as well. And honestly, I really cannot recommend this palette highly enough. Number 1, baby, here we go. This is the P. Louise Watch the Queen Conquer palette that Danielle sent me as well. Danielle is just an amazing friend and she spoils me rotten. And I love the packaging. I mean, this is pretty heavy. It's pretty bulky. And I know not everybody loves bulky packaging, but I think P. Louise is kind of known for their bulky packaging. And I love the fact that on the inside, we have this cute little chessboard with the hearts on it. And then on this side, we have this beautiful color story. We have pinks and purples and some kind of neutrally, maybe like terracottas, some kind of coral shades down at the bottom. The shimmer shades in this palette are just, I don't even know if there's a word for it. Spectacular, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, just amazing. And I really wasn't prepared for that, Like you get a palette, you look at it, you think, oh yeah, it's beautiful. But when I actually used it for the first time, I was like, what is this magic voodoo in here? I was just madly in love with it from the very beginning. The mattes in this palette kind of blend themselves. They're very easy to manipulate. I know maybe sometimes these kind of color stories can seem a little bit overwhelming because we do have this one on this side as well, which this one's my favorite side of the palette. This is the earthier side, the oranges, the reds, the yellows, the golds, the greens, the olivey greens, the browns a little bit. I do think these can be overwhelming to people. And I also think that sometimes, you just don't really know what to do with these. But the thing that's so cool, like I just was saying, and then it got sidetracked, is that the quality of the mattes are so nice because they blend so easily and they're pigmented and they're easy to use. And the shimmers are so amazing. I know I could just go on and on. You guys are like, yeah, we get it, Erica. You've said it like 4,000 times. But truly, this has become my favorite eyeshadow palette in my collection. I'm so thrilled that Danielle sent this to me. And this is another one of those palettes that I just need to use more, but I want to save it forever. I got to get over that weirdness. This is the year, 2023, that I'm going to get over that weird crap that I do where I don't use palettes that I really love. Because this, honestly, without a doubt, is my favorite indie brand palette in my collection and just my all-around favorite palette in my collection now. So I actually ranked my top 15 eyeshadow palettes from indie brands. I can't believe it. And I know I said this at the beginning, and I'm going to say it again. This could change tomorrow. This could have been totally different yesterday. So this is today's ranking. But I just love having all of these palettes, and I just love to support indie brands. It's so fun. I really do believe that indie brand owners really are more cued into what makeup lovers want, what they need, what they love, and they really go that extra step to give us these really special, amazing color stories, packaging, quality, formula, the whole 9 yards. And that's what I think is so awesome about indie brands. And I would love to know, of course, what your guys' favorite indie brands are, how you would rank your top 15 indie brand palettes. And if you don't have 15 indie brand palettes, just rank the ones you do have. We can talk about that in the comment section. I would love that. And I'm just on the hunt for more indie brands. So if you guys know of different indie brands that you think I might like, let's talk about that in the comment section too, because I'm always up for suggestions. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life to sit down and watch this video. If you are new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and I would love to chat with you in the comment section because I love to do that. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I really look forward to seeing you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself, be well, safe, happy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.